Hello and welcome. This is Lisa and Cristy coming to you live from next Thursday.
Looking good this Thursday.
You guys are going to love it. It's like awesome. The future is so cool, you guys. You got to get here.
It's super cool. We just signed on Doctor Who.
We saw next week's Doctor Who. Not psych.
Spoilers, darling. Spoilers.
Okay, Cristy, keep the accents at home, okay?
Sorry.
Listen, I love doing a Scottish accent as much as the next guy. But let's talk about the Scottish Doctor Who.
Yeah, so what do you think of Peter Capaldi?
I'm having a little trouble.
Still?
Yes, which is unexpected because I've been through this cycle many times where right from, Baker, when Doctor Who died completely unexpectedly to me, the fourth Doctor, which was my first
Lisa,
Doctor.
They always have to die.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, but so here's the thing. Like, when my first Doctor died, it took me completely by surprise. I knew nothing about this, and I was truly shocked. A, when he died, and then B, when he came back, it was like, like a bomb. And it took me a while. I was really like upset. So, but by like the third or fourth episode with Davidson, I got over it, and I was really surprised at myself.
I don't know their names. Which one's Davidson?
Celery.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Celery.
Mr. Celery.
Okay, so henceforth to be known as Dr. Celery. So by the third or fourth episode, I got over it, and I went through this whole, I guess, the 5 stages of grief of, I hated him, and I was railing against God and the BBC, possibly the same thing. But by the 4th episode, he grew on me, and I was able to go forward. And it's happened the same way every single time since, where, well, after that first time, I knew that, they die and then come back as somebody else. Mm-hmm. So that part wasn't shocking. But
I did not have a hard time. Like, I started watching the new series.
Which one would that be?
With Tennant.
Oh, okay.
And when Matt Smith came around, I was okay with it.
Really?
I didn't have trouble. Peter Capaldi, I'm not having as much trouble as I thought I would.
Well, and here's the thing. Perhaps my expectations of Capaldi were too high, because, to be honest, I was ready for Matt to go. I thought that the show had gotten too cute, too maudlin, and I was ready for someone Scottish, someone exactly like Capaldi. I wanted an older, maybe less Tigger-ish Doctor. And
the wonderful thing about timing. The wonderful thing about time.
Yeah, I mean, he went the whole series bouncing around on his tail, right?
And it was adorable.
Exactly. It was all so very adorable. So I knew Peter Capaldi. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I knew his work.
Yes, and as any Whovian would know, he was in the episode with Tennant and Donna, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he was in Pompeii.
Right. He was a Pompeian marble dealer, I think.
I think so, yeah.
In any case, so I expected to like Capaldi's Doctor right away. And I did like the first episode very much. But it's sort of not clicking to me. And I'm kind of blaming the chemistry with Clara a little bit.
Well, a lot of people are really sick of Clara. Like, really, what does she add when you think about it? Does she really add that much?
No.
After she was the impossible girl, after that season ender, it's kind of like,
She's
blasé.
She's not impossible. She's all too probable.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I feel myself, I'm having more trouble with her than I think I am Peter. Because she's just like, okay, doctor, whatever you say. You know, like, what is she adding? Nothing.
She's Miss Exposition.
The only thing, you know, with Peter Capaldi, I'm surprised how much I'm enjoying it, because there's an added thing to, there's an added level now, you know, where it's like a more mysterious, like there's something else going on. The things that he speaks very cryptically sometimes. So there's sometimes
a level of mystery.
Yes, he sometimes speaks cryptically, and I'm intrigued. You know, I'm always trying to figure out what it is that he's insinuating. Sometimes I feel like it's more tied to different things that have happened in the past, and I'm trying to figure out what that thing is.
Interesting. That's great. That, I mean, I see that in the writing. I think for me it's something not in the writing so much as it is in that elusive
it could element, yeah, I mean, you know? Definitely it's the writing, but you know, it started with Capaldi.
Well, because I mean, they have a new character essentially, and they're writing him differently. So that makes perfect sense. To me, it's more about the on-screen chemistry. I don't sense any chemistry with Clara.
No, and from what we...
It feels almost... Wait, to me, it feels almost like a fight. What do you call that? There's something...
A conflict?
Yeah, it doesn't rub right, you know? I don't feel like it's clicked.
Yeah, well, I think you're right about there not being a chemistry, and you know, spoilers. Next season, next show, they're putting a little bit of the romantic element into it, and it's like, really, where did that come from? Because there's nothing there.
Romantic element? You mean with Danny?
No, like Doctor Who is trying to
like win her back,
win her over, or yeah, and it's just like, really, that's just not right.
Well, the Doctor is a jealous doctor, and what I suspect is that it's not that he wants Clara as a romantic partner, but that he's jealous that she's interested in somebody else. Like when he used to come around, especially as Matt, she would jump up on her motorcycle and, you know, come running. And now he shows up and she's like, no, I've got a date, you gotta go, right? And she leaves him with the goldfish. So I suspect that that's going to be more of a jealousy, like he's not being paid attention to, and I think he's lonely, and that's coming across also in the episode about Listen, where he's, you know, trying to find monsters that aren't there, because he's so lacking for company.
Yeah, there's just something overall that's just not right.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that's drawing me right now is just that little bit of mystery that they have in the writing.
Yes.
You know, I feel like they're making connections to past doctors and things that maybe had remained unsaid, or there's something that's
something's
drawing me.
Brewing, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel too. And there's a lot of hints in that they've been dropping. Like in the first episode, he talks about his face and how he's seen this face before.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right? He says, he feels like he's telling himself something, but he doesn't quite know what it is.
And they said something about how, you know, when he regenerates, that he takes things that he's seen in the past or something like that. About his face.
Yes.
This is a face I've seen before.
Right.
Yeah.
What I found interesting was that, you know, they made a hint like this is, he's trying to tell himself something, like he's giving himself a message. And my hope is that means that they're either going to connect to a story, from that Pompeii episode, or that there's going to be a connection back to Donna. And that
would be great. I love
that would
Donna.
be amazing.
You know, the thing is that, you know, a lot of the Whovians are women, and so we've liked our pretty doctors. But part of what's made it so interesting to watch for, you know, for women who are maybe looking for a little bit of romance, a little bit of fun between, you know, that chemistry.
Yes.
And there's always some like witty repartee going on. Somebody's got the funny lines. And Capaldi, you know, he's had a little bit of humor, but that kind of thing is missing.
Yes.
And that's what I think we love so much, is that, you know, funny stuff, little cheeky, you know.
Yes.
And
all
I'm
of that.
missing
The
it.
humor is a big part to me of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And they're often inside jokes.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, part of what you're talking about, those references to past stories. Those are great because we have a shared history. That shows our shared history with the Doctor, right?
Yeah.
We know these stories about him.
So what's the last time that there's been an older Doctor? Probably in the original series, right?
Right. Well, they got progressively younger up to, well, yeah, essentially the oldest Doctor was the first one, and they got younger as time went on. So Capaldi is bringing it back to almost Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor.
Old school.
Old school, yes, a grown-up Doctor. Well, except for John Hurt.
Oh, right.
Right? But
But he's just so much more interesting. What is it? You know?
But I mean, that was like the exception, right? There was that loop in between all this decreasing age, and then suddenly he got really old.
Yeah.
And then looped back to Matt Smith.
Is it the writing, or you think it's Peter Capaldi? Because even John Hurt, like, he was really, there's something so that really pulls you to him. He's an incredible actor. Yeah.
I think that's where the actor comes in.
Maybe Peter Capaldi is just not up to snuff.
Wow, that's rough, Cristy.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
Yeah.
That's a big statement.
Yeah.
Well, here's
I think he needs to click with the writing, and I don't think they've given him very much to really, maybe because the interaction between the companion and the Doctor
that's the center of the show, really.
And since it's not working, it's maybe, you know, he's set up to fail.
Maybe he needs to fire his assistant.
There's a lot of people who think that she's gotta go.
Well, and there's also the rumor that she's not coming back next season.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're trying to keep a damper on that. My guess is that, yes, she's gonna go.
God, but a whole season of her? I don't know if I can take it.
Well, Cristy, the seasons are not that long anymore.
Yeah, but still.
6 whole episodes with this woman?
Is it really down to 6 now?
No, I don't know. Usually, yeah, they're like 6 or 7, you know, because they break it up in half seasons.
Yeah.
So I think we only have like 3 or 4 more episodes to go in this batch.
I think to make it better, they maybe have to stay in the Victorian. Because then you've got other characters to interact with.
Oh, okay. Because you want Lizard Lady and her wife to be around.
Yeah, and the centenarian. How do they call it? Centenarians? Centaurons.
Wait a minute. A centenarian? I think is someone who's 100 years old.
Okay.
Sontaran. Yes. Strax.
Thank you, Doctor Who expert.
Strax is his name.
I love him.
The potato one.
Yeah, he's great.
He is fantastic. Well, that's another...
Move aside, human!
That's actually another pet peeve that I had with last season is, and you particular, knowing me, you're going to be very surprised at this, but they spent too much time in Victorian England.
What?
Yes. Now,
my sister is a lover of corsets and all things of that age. So it is hard for me to believe that you say that.
Cristy, I have read all the Dickens novels. At this point, all I've got left are short stories. I swear. Yes, I love the Victorian era. I find it really interesting. I read not only like major authors, but I read minor authors as well. Like I am deeply steeped in it, and yet steampunk I find it a little played.
Oh.
And it was a little too one note. I mean, one of the lovely things about Doctor Who is they go to different places and times. Otherwise, what's the point of having a time machine if you just stay in one time?
Yeah.
I mean, I know
budgetary Is anybody missing the beautiful vacation spot of New York?
You mean new York. Sorry, I lost count. I know there's 11 of them, but
I miss New York and all of its different incarnations.
My favorite are the cat people.
The cat people, so awesome. And what about Mr. Bighead being, what's his name? See, in our repartee, I have to be the dumb one. You have to be the smart one. It's like bad cop, good cop.
Okay, it's not just that I'm like, the trivia person, but Mr. Big Head turns out to be that guy. Luckily
John Barrowman. Every girl loves him, but all the men have him.
Well put. Yes, the Face of Boe was really
cool. Face of Boe, thank you.
And actually, it fulfills one of my secret fantasies, which is to be a cat. So it's kind of like, when you find out your own future, is if you were looking back at yourself, to be looking back on humanity and finding out that we finally hybridized with the cats makes me truly happy. I wonder if it was natural. She
says this as her cat is lying next to my microphone.
It's not a coincidence. I'm wondering, though, and I'm sure that many other people wondered this as well, whether that was a result of gene splicing or of somebody getting it on with the cat.
Oh, God.
I would like to think that this is a natural hybridization.
Hey, Lisa, the furries have to go somewhere.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it was. Someone said, hey, it's a furry. And they're like, no, someone was really stupid because they mistook a cat for a furry.
Maybe they're the ones that started the mutation.
Friends, if you don't know what a furry is, please use the internet wisely.
And don't be shocked. This is for adults only, by the way.
Yes, it is.
One thing going back to Doctor Who.
Cat people.
Back to
Back to cat people.
Back to cat people. What Doctor Who needs is more
Dr.
cats.
He. Dr. He.
Dr. He.
Oh, God.
Doctor Who needs more cats. More Catherine Tate. That's Donna for you.
I love her. Are you bothered? Are you bothered?
Do I look bothered? Anyone
she
who
has
hasn't
a great
seen,
show.
Yeah, anyone who hasn't seen the Catherine Tate show, you got to look it up.
It is a must watch.
Is hilarious. She had her own sketch show. She was, I think she was pretty famous before Doctor Who, which is unusual, right? Usually by the time,
not in the United States. But
but I mean, in the United Kingdom. I'm not sure if that's the right terminology, but I think usually the companions are unknown, especially young people, right?
Yeah.
And this was so unusual in that this was a known actor.
Oh my God, the season with her was just pure genius. It was so great.
I do have to say that the adipose episode, there's a scene in there that I think is
where
comedic genius.
Yeah, where she's mimicking to the doctor and the doctor is mimicking back.
Well, they're
trying to talk to each other without saying anything.
They have a conversation without words.
Yeah, and it's so awesome.
Purely by gesture and by mouthing the words really, really exaggeratedly so that they can read each other's lips. I think that was comic genius.
It was. God, it was such a funny show with her.
Yes.
The two played off each other so perfectly.
Which made it even more tragic when she left.
I know. I hated it. She's like my favorite companion.
Kylie Minogue just came to mind.
Oh, that was...
Kylie Minogue was famous before she was on Doctor Who.
Yeah, but she wasn't very good.
No, plus it was a one-off. It was just a Christmas special, and she died in the end.
Yeah.
Although that's never been an impediment on Doctor Who to being on the show again.
No.
You know, it's about time travel.
And stuff. So who is your favorite character from which worlds?
My favorite character from which world?
You know, like what race of people is your favorite on Doctor Who?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, the humans. Oh, you mean other than humans?
Other than humans.
I always, you know, here's one of my like conspiracy type theories about Doctor Who, is I think that the Time Lords are actually humans in the future.
Oh.
Somehow. Because it's just too much of a coincidence that he's so attached to humans.
Yeah.
Although in the 8th Doctor he says he's part human on his mother's side. But we know the Doctor lies. You know, these guys wrote in so many loopholes for themselves.
They did.
This is, you know, actually now that I think about it, this is the beauty of science fiction, is if you don't like the rules, just rewrite them.
Yeah.
You know, your character dies and you want to keep going with the show, make him regenerate.
Yeah, right?
Somebody, you know, you like that character but they died at the end, make time travel. But anyway, so my theory is that, you know, the Time Lords are an offshoot of the human race. And part of the reason I think that is because of River.
Yeah.
So the explanation they gave was that because she had been conceived in the TARDIS, and her mother had spent so much time next to the crack in the universe and so much time in
River is the Doctor's
vortex.
wife?
Yes.
Yes. And she, and Amy and
Rory,
who are companions, you find out that they're her parents.
Right. So, so River is human, but she had regenerative power, and the explanation given was that she had been conceived on the TARDIS, and that her mom had spent all this time next to the crack in the universe, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it felt like River became a Time Lord by virtue of spending so much time next to the time vortex, and so it made me think that maybe that's how the Time Lords came about, that humans time traveled and it mutated them into Time Lords.
Mm-hmm.
So if I become a writer on Doctor Who, this will be a storyline.
Okay.
What do you say?
Let's do it.
Listener, if you'd like to start a writing campaign to get me on the show, yeah, that'll work. I've got one vote.
There you go.
Mine.
Our one follower.
Our one. He may not even vote for me, but I'll vote for me.
There you go. We'll vote for you, me and Guppy.
Oh, thank you. My cat and my sister are going to vote for me. How's that? How's that for loyalty?
That's right.
What about you? What's your favorite race?
Wow, there's so many of them.
Species, I guess. Species.
I like the potato heads. They are very funny in all of their menacing potato headedness. And Lizard Lady is cool looking.
Lizard, and actually that is one of my favorite species as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was sort of an alternate evolution of human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of being descended from apes, they we're descended from lizards, but we basically ended up in the same place,
Mm-hmm.
in the same kind of level of evolution, same consciousness and level of intelligence, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, she's sexy.
Okay.
No?
She's a lizard.
She's a lizard. What's not sexy about lizards?
There are so many things I don't know about you.
She's giving me that eye of wonder and
I'm squinting.
confusion.
Squinting,
It's
questioning.
It's Cristy, really.
Questioning.
Your face is so expressive. It's a pity that this is only podcast. I think from now on I'm going to have to take pictures of you as you look at me with disdain / confusion / incredulity / despair.
Yeah, whatevs.
I like to think that I inspire all of these emotions in you.
You do.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
Yes, you do.
So those are Silurians. That's their name.
No.
Silesians?
It's. Oh, you mean the lizard?
Phoenicians? Yes.
The lizard people?
Yes.
Oh, that I don't know.
I think they're Silurians.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It starts with an S. Oh, she laughed even though she didn't want to.
I didn't, but I did.
What's your least favorite species?
That's a good question.
There have been some doozies.
Yeah. Oh, probably, the Daleks.
The Daleks?
Yeah.
The little-
Exterminate! Exterminate!
It almost doesn't count to count them among,
Well, that's
to have a
gross
conversation about
looking.
them as a species because they're really villains. So
My favorite looking human was the skin that was, taught in a net or whatever.
oh,
What is her name?
Lady Zoe Wanamaker is the actress's name.
Oh, well, it's a character who is like the last human,
Correct.
and basically, all that she is a piece of skin that's stretched,
On a
and
frame.
and she has a mouth and eyes, and that's it.
Partially because she had so much plastic surgery that she lost everything, and she became the thinnest woman.
Oh, that's right. You
Yes.
always want that.
So we've always wanted that. She finally got it. She got to be just skin deep.
Yeah.
So the metaphor was right up there.
And the
right
head
in
of
your face.
Boe, like the face of Boe. Sorry. The face of Boe, I think, was really cool.
He is.
Yeah.
There's a story there that we're missing. And, how did he get from being Captain Jack Harkness
Mhm.
and being in Torchwood? How did he get from there to being the face of Boe and just being a head in a jar?
Yeah.
But it is 25 centuries,
Yeah.
I think.
They're in the 2500s when the face of Boe is around,
Or
right?
25,000, yeah.
Thank you.
It's really, I can't remember. We're almost in the 2500s
Yeah,
now.
that's 25,000.
Anyway,
Gotta be the dumb one.
somebody's gotta be.
Somebody's gotta be.
Cristy,
I heard the call.
even though you are a genius, you're still dumber than me.
Oh boy.
Okay, you were supposed to take away from that you're a genius. Yay!
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll leave it there.
Really
Thanks.
great.
So,
Yeah.
the face of Boe.
The face of Boe.
We are missing a large chunk of his story, right? What happened between Torchwood and being a head in the jar?
Other than being good to look at, though, the character is interesting.
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the most interesting characters I think
Mhm.
that they've ever had, which is why he got his own spinoff,
Yeah.
I think. Also, one of the prettiest characters they've ever had.
That's about right.
You gotta admit,
Gotta admit,
awfully pretty.
it's very pretty.
But that kind of jumping around in a person's story is one of the hooks I think that Doctor Who has. Is there's so many untold stories. They jump around. I mean, like, for example,
it's a writer's paradise.
It really is. The Doctor himself, the stories that we see are very small in comparison with the rest of his life. So there's all this time that he spends, we don't know what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In one series, there were 800 years unaccounted for in one of the Matt Smith years. I think it was in the Impossible Astronaut.
Oh, that was cool.
Year that, there was a jump of 800 years where he like suddenly comes back and he's, 1,200 years old. So where did those 800 years? We don't know where he's been.
No.
Who knows what could have happened? Who knows?
Ooh. And with that mystery, I think we gotta close.
Okay.
So, thank you for listening, Kevin. And
gentle reader, we'll see you soon.
Goodbye and good time travel.